Hello YouTube, welcome one and all, and welcome back to Heart of Iron 4. It is the Man the Guns expansion, where a lot of things have been changed. Primarily, as the picture backdrop shows, naval has been reworked. The naval mechanics have been reworked. So it's time to go back into Heart of Iron and be absolutely terrible at it. That's a perfectly good idea, don't you? I mean, I've not looked at anything. I know, like, tiny smidgen about some of the changes, but I haven't kept up to date. And the only reason why I've got the Man the Gunner expansion is because I bought the fancy pants version, option when I bought this from Steam, which obviously came with all future DLC, or at least up to a certain point. Don't ask me up to what point, I can't remember, it's been that long ago. But anyway, enough of me babbling. We're going to go once again jump in. We're going to be the 1st of January 1936, the Gathering Storm. Dark times are coming. In Europe, Hitler has consolidated his power, and his attention is now increasingly drawn beyond Germany's borders. Mussolini's Italy continues to embark on daring military adventures, while the Empire of Japan stands poised to attack China in Asia. Almost 20 years have passed since the end of the Great War, and the world has yet again been doused in gasoline. A single spark may be all it takes. We shall select this scenario. So, if memory serves me correctly, the last major expansion, or at least the last expansion that added some nations, was mostly the Chinese, I think. Yugoslavia, Romania. Oh no, that was it was all the Chinese and Southeast Asia stuff. But anyway, we have at least two new. I think the rest were previous one. But anyway, we have Mexico, which is a playthrough I failed at miserably, horrendously bad. Decided to take on America with no army on the border. That was a mistake. But anyway, Mexico. So a brief history on Mexico. Faced 2 decades of civil war after the overthrow of the tyrant Porfirio Diaz. If I remember correctly, my Great War mod playthrough, we saw him take over. I think. Again, trying to remember stuff that happened like weeks and months ago is not a good idea. Centralizers fought regionalists, peasants, and socialists rallied against Hacienda landlords. I'm pronouncing that word wrong, probably. And battles over the role of state versus religion came out of the annals of the Enlightenment to terrorize Mexico. The secularist government insists that it won these battles, but is seated on a throne of debris. After Mexico is rebuilt, perhaps a different victor will have emerged. And we have the Netherlands! Ooh, Wilhelmina. Ooh, that's the thing, I didn't have a look at what you guys are. Oil concessions. Oh, so, oil is a thing, a much bigger thing now. You can make fuel and use it. I know that much, and that's very important for Navy, and it's going to be very important for us because of the nation we're going to be. But we will get to that in a second. Oil concessions. So Mexico doesn't really have control over its own oil per se. There are foreign interests. Politicized army. Military. Oh god, that's terrible. And the weak church. Oh, they have something to do with church. Aztec Eagles. By aiding American struggles against the foreign warmongers to threaten the general peace and expansion. Hispanic Alliance. Smash the bureaucrats. Ooh, communist route. Okay. And there is Holland, who have shell-shocked spectator of the Great War. Dutch have been all but too close to it as a spectator to the horrors of the Great War. As a result, a strong passive movement has grown to permeate a large part of Europa. defensive war or war on pacifism would be needed to truly rid the country of this sentiment. That's not good. But anyway, brief history. The Dutch government eyes the mounting global tensions with concern. Between an ailing economy, a powerful pacifist movement, and a firm belief in neutrality to the point of driving potential allies away, they are unable to properly prepare their defences. At the same time, the importance of the Netherlands as a gateway of trade to the continent means that both the British and the Germans desired Dutch cooperation to thwart the other, and may take rejection as a reason for hostility. Perhaps withdrawal to the colonies is the only possible means to resist such an invasion. Oh, yes. Continue the war in Batavaria. Oh. So, for Holland, you could let everything play out. Also, if you can see, there's a little Confederate flag there. Just a little. Just to let you know. Just an FYI of some of the things that can happen now. But anyway. So, basically, you can let things happen. You're not going to stop the German juggernaut crushing through your territory. But what you could then do is like be the government in exile and control the overseas territories. That's going to be very interesting. That would be very interesting. Liberation. That's pretty good. So that would probably get rid of that. And prepare the... the integral part of defense is properly prepared. It will surely save us again. Whereas we have yet to see a tank that can cross water. Ah, yes, because it's the lowlands. You could deliberately flood parts of your territory, making it much easier to defend. That is very interesting. But we are not going to be those two countries. We're going to be a country that I have not been. So, we've been France. We've been Britain. We've not been Germany. We've not been Italy. We've been the Soviet Union. Failed miserably as. But we're going to be Japan. The Empire of Japan stands at a crossroads. Hokushin-run, the northern... I pronounced that probably wrong. The northern expansion doctrine is favoured by the army and calls for an advance into Siberia. Nanshin-run, the southern expansion doctrine, is supported by the navy and has rich European colonies in Southeast Asia and the Pacific as its target. And then, of course, there's always China. Japan possesses a formidable military, but its industries are starving for resources and time is running out. Which path to choose? So, Japan has one state Shintoism, division recovery rate is plus 10%, and factory bomb vulnerability is minus 10%. Not bad. Daily political cost is increased with our Zaibatsus. Customer goods factories 5%. Construction speed is up though. Dockyard, isn't it? Economy lowers costs. And militarism, war support, research speed is not that good. But justified work all this time is quite good. And civilian construction speed, conscription laws, cost. Ooh, that's quite good. We have the zero, the warrior spirit, and strike on the southern resource area. You will select this country. So, welcome one and all again to the world in 1936, 1st of January. China is really in pretty bad shape. I mean, they've got all these local warlords. There's, there's the... I'm trying to remember how long ago it has been since the last, uprising that the European nations put down. What was it? I want to say the Boxer, but I'm not 100% sure I'm right in that. But anyway, China's in a very weak position. It's very vulnerable. It is prime for the taking, for land, manpower, and all these different territories will be better served as territory of Japan, because Japan wants one thing. Wants the end of European colonialism. And the way he wants to do that is to make everything run by Japan. I mean, granted, China the likes of China, the Philippines, Southeast Asia, you know. Oh, what's it called? French Southeast Asia, Siam, Singapore, the Dutch East Indies. They're going to complain about that. They're not going to like it, but it's what's going to happen. At least that's the plan. Never underestimate. But also, you know what I'm going to do? We're going to turn off historical AI focus. Because apparently some really, really weird stuff can happen if you turn that off. And I want to see what happens. We've been 10 minutes. I'm going to have to start now because we're going to take about 10 minutes to sort myself up before I actually start the clock. Okay, hello, hi, welcome. Oh, we have tank divisions.
이동 준비 완료. 역할.
Okay, so pardon me. Ah, here we go. Look at this. This is completely different. Before I just had to hit this button, but now we don't. Oh, Izuku Yamamoto. That's why you can be in charge of the... oh, actually. No. Carriers, you get him. Superior Tactician, Spotter, Air Controller, Flight Deck Manager. Lovely. Okay. Die to... ooh. Oh, no. Ah, right, okay. So, the fleets... these are the fleets. More importantly, Japanese theatre. This is all new. This is completely new. 50... so, the fleets are... sorry, let me try and explain this without sounding like an idiot. I may fail badly. Most likely. So, was it squadrons? I think it's squadrons. We've got the Japanese fleets, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fleets, and they are split into separate squadrons. So this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squadrons. That has 5, that has 3, 2, 2, and 1. Reserve fleets for this theatre. Well, and each fleet can be given a role, but also... oh, hang on. I'm just picking... I'm not actually paying attention to who gets what. I'm just basically getting them so that they've all got... because the one thing I do forget is giving fleets admirals. I do really do badly. Okay, so... I could give this fleet all task force. Ah, right, task force. Yeah, right. So I could give the fleet a mission, or I could give individual task force missions. So we have this fleet task force of 7 ships, which are the Nagato, Haruna, Fuso, Yamashiro, Sendai, Jinsu, Nagara, which are light cruisers and a bunch of battleships. Obviously, these guys are going to go and get me sea superiority in the Yellow Sea and the East China Sea. Notice there's a new little button here. We have a fuel gauge. Basically, ships specifically, but I probably wouldn't be surprised if tanks are the same. They also go off fuel, and if you run out of fuel, you can't use your ships, or they don't work as well, something like that. So, do I want the fleet, or do I want this fleet to do this, or do I want just a couple of squadrons? Like this squadron has an early destroyer's hulls. These ships are really. I'm going to send you to patrol Sea of Japan. Possible. Oh, we have a submarine fleet. Hello. Interesting. Okay. There's our carrier. Ryuja 1936 carrier hull. And some early destroyers. Ooh, Musu, Takao, Chokai, Maya, Isuzu, Kaiso. These are destroyers. They are pretty early stuff. I don't know whether or not I will be upgrading them. What about you guys? Haguro. Wow, there's a lot of you guys in early submarines. More submarines. Oh, we have the Congo. The Kirishima. The Akagi and the Hosho. Oh, this is a... Okay, so this is a nice fleet. What about you guys? Coastal defense ships, and cruisers, and destroyers. Okay. You buy cruiser and destroyers. Your destroyers. Cruiser and destroyer squadron. Submarines. A destroyer squadron. Cruisers and coastal heavy cruisers. And early destroyers. Okay. Right. Okay, so do I sign you? Oh, that's a thing. Also, this is a thing now. You know how it used to be only able to tell it to do 3 territories? No. Now it's literally like whatever the range is for them. So if you notice, because because Japan has a whole bunch of islands in Micronesia, we can actually expand our naval influence to quite a large area, which is very nice. Speaking of which, hello, Midway. That may or may not be an important thing. Same with the Hawaiian Islands. They may or may not be important later on in this playthrough. Okay, so I've spent way too long talking about these guys. I will give them a mission. First things first, let's get some technology researching, shall we? First things first, we want this. Secondly, we want this. Thirdly, we want this. Fourth, where's the 0? Tactical bomber fighter type 91, KI 32. Shift click 2. Ah, yes, that's a 0. Right, okay, so we are researching this bad boy right now. Also, I like that. I don't know if that's a new feature or not. The 3D model. I don't know if it's a new feature, but it's very, very well done. We will want artillery. We will want all this. We're 1936, so we've got all the 36 stuff apart from 1918 heavy machine gun stuff. That's fine. We will want potentially paratroopers. Look at that. Ooh, mobile rocket artillery. Ooh. Interesting, all the things. Okay, so national focus. Strengthening civilian government. Ooh. I may want this to get that. Or I could get Purge the Code of Affection. Because that... Okay. I know I've got Historic AI turned off, but part of me wants to like try and be a little bit historical in regards to the way we play Japan. Manchurian Project. So I think maybe we beeline Purge the Coda faction. Liaison conference. Isn't it? No. Guide the Zaibatsu. National mobilization law, national research policy, and see where we go from there. I think that's what we're going to do. Right. Okay. First, okay. We've still got an awful lot of things to do. We have decisions to make. Naval treaties. Oh yeah, the London Treaty. Understand divisions here. We've got a lot of those. No divisions and bases training. Free military factories. Free civilian factories. Lovely. We will do that in a moment. But anyway, we'll continue on with the setup. It's been 20 minutes already. We will continue on with the setup next video. Until then, everyone, toodles.